This is Serena and Drake testing our system.
And we are here.
We're
Howard,
just
how are you there?
testing this out today. Testing to see if we're going live on all these platforms. And it's interesting because, again, I feel like you're not coming live on Facebook. I'm watching. I'm looking.
What, that thing just turned gray down there. Does that mean
Drake, that was yesterday.
It's cooking?
That was yesterday. That was yesterday's show.
Sheesh.
Okay.
There it came.
Well, because we were flipping the camera from the front to the back, if you remember at the beginning of the show. That's why that was gray for about 2 or 3 seconds.
It was facing the wrong way. Okay.
Well, it was just the back-facing camera versus front-facing camera.
And this is not coming.
It's not coming live right now on Facebook. I'm going to check Periscope and I'm going to check Twitter. And we're here live on Periscope. No problem.
Periscope and Twitter?
That's Periscope. And on YouTube, checking on YouTube. Yeah, it's live here.
Wow.
So I'm not really sure what we can do about that.
Is Facebook being dicks with us, or?
I don't know.
We have 2 minutes.
Just everything you say is live on Periscope and YouTube right now.
Okay.
Okay.
This is perplexing. We're wondering why we're not on Facebook too, so.
So it says that it's sending data to Facebook. I turned it off.
Okay.
I'm turning it back on. It's possible that they don't allow restream. Okay, well, I continue to check this out. I'm going to remove this.
7 minutes till we start. Good morning to you, period. We are getting ready to go live on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. in about 6 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to test this.
Got rid of Aunt Jemima, we got rid of Uncle Ben's, but I am wildly triggered by the brands and the photos that I see in this grocery store. Using a polar bear to sell your ice cream, Klondike? You know polar bears were extinct? No thank you. Canceled. Paw Patrol mac and cheese. Listen, defund the police, defund Paw Patrol. V8, you know what kind of emissions an engine like that puts out into the environment? I drive a Prius and that is canceled. Okay, I don't exactly know who this guy is, but I don't like his look at all. I don't like anything that this guy stands for. Canceled. White rice, brown rice. I gotta be separated. Think about it. Canceled. Uncle Ben's? Absolutely
Drake,
offended by
can
that.
that be?
Yeah.
Because that's going into a live stream right now.
Okay, 5 minutes. I'll put it on stopwatch so that
Okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast and restart it because it's saying to do that. We're testing this again. Testing this again to see if Drake's show is going to go on Facebook today. Hello. It is.
Is it working?
Yeah, it is working. So I'm just going to leave it. So I'll start the music at 7. This is the pre-show.
Yes.
We're going to do a little pre-show today.
And when someone starts this today, it won't start at 7. It'll start at with this pre-prattle ahead of time.
It's going to start with... Yeah.
We're getting double images here. This is really weird to me.
Well, it's because I have several windows open.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this down.
Can you hear? Can you hear yourself on the earpiece?
Okay, just a moment. Let me close down some other things.
I think I'll just start at 59 in 1 minute.
Well, Drake, let me get everything ready, okay?
Okay.
Somebody's asking, what's your wish?
Somebody's asking, what's your wish?
On Periscope.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we just like for all of our stuff to work.
And like this show to meet all needs so that we can even put more into it.
Oh, a little flock of birds.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to put 1 Corinthians, which,
1 Corinthians,
12?
12, 13. 12-13. If you can go to the second line and put gifts of love.
Okay, it doesn't work like that. I have to create a whole nother thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
This is what it's like to get ready for our show, everybody.
Uh-huh. We scuttle every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't punch music start or.
I'm going to punch it at 7 o'clock.
There it is. There it is.
Wow, that's loud. Welcome, everybody. It's time to take a break with Drake. Weekdays at 7 a.m. And this is when we get together and gather around. Climb aboard. Get ready for the journey of a lifetime as we sail through the scriptures with America's Bible teacher, Dr. Drake Travis.
Here we go. Hallelujah. Good morning to you. It's a misty morning in Southwest Washington. Behind us, about 1.5 miles is the Columbia River, just over that slope that comes down. Just you can see it just right off Serena's. The slope right behind there is the Columbia River. Man, that thing is huge.
Back there.
We crossed it. The bridge at the mouth of the Columbia is 4 miles long.
At 4.1.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's over 4 miles long, and it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, how can the river be that big? But it is. So we're in Southwest Washington. I love these misty mornings. I love these misty mornings.
They're beautiful.
It's 35, 40 degrees
Cloudy.
Cooler than the other side of
Whoops, I'm going to
the
leave down and get
mountain.
my coffee.
Oops, we got to stay together here with our earpieces here. But yeah, good to have you with us. And taking a little bit of advice from the wifeinator here. Yeah, she's sent to me by Schwarzenegger, the wifeinator.
I am your wife.
Yeah, she said, "Honey, don't do so much. Don't go so fast. Don't try to go so far. It's becoming. It's just it's so I'm
It's called take a break, not like
not like
it's not NASCAR through the Bible.
or feast cram an entire feast in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's eating
We're
too
just going to
fast.
casually go through the Bible together.
Yeah,
Let's enjoy this.
we had some meals with some friends last weekend when we were on a 3-day vacation. And dinner the first night was almost 4 hours.
Good morning, Elisa.
Elisa, good to see you. Yes, and someone on Periscope. We're on Periscope. We're on YouTube. And by the way, if
and please subscribe on both of those platforms if you have them both.
Yeah,
it's easy to subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah,
everybody watches YouTube.
Yeah, once YouTube goes over 100 subscribers, then YouTube.
Then there's more. It unlocks more.
Yeah, YouTube
for us to do
takes
to
us more seriously. So that would be a great help. And
the way to find Drake on YouTube is to go to the search bar and type "Take a Break with Drake," because if it's just Drake, you will get Drake the Rapper. So take a break with Drake, YouTube, and subscribe.
I'm Drake the Rapper, and this is my show, and I'm doing it in slow-mo.
Drake, the slow-mo Bible rapper.
The slow-mo Bible rapper.
Why, might be fun. Hey, good morning, Sally.
Good morning, Sally. And to those of you, listening, we're creating a venue where you can add some support toward this.
Yeah.
You can put wind in our sails, shall we say? I've been.
So the way to do that is to go to Drake's website, draketravis.com.
Okay.
And go to the partner page. Good morning, Todd Williams. I like your cup of coffee. It matches my cup.
Yeah, I'm glad wife explains it. This is stuff that I just.
So go to take a break with Drake. Go to draketravis.com there's a partner page, and on there you can partner with Take a Break with Drake.
Yeah. So help make
Yeah.
it happen. I'd love to even put
Mm-hmm.
some days I have done 6 hours. A couple of days I've done 8 hours of prep for this, and if
Mm-hmm.
that can keep going, and we can keep this very poignant and applicable and helpful and
Mm-hmm.
encouraging to you. I don't want to do this slipshod, street tacos out of a truck type of deal.
I love street
Or
tacos though.
yeah. So,
Just that's
but
my favorite food. Fish tacos. If anybody wants to take me out for dinner, Drake,
yeah,
fish tacos.
yes, and I made those for her.
Yes, you did. Drake made me salmon fish tacos. Those were so
Yeah,
good.
with avocado, cabbage, and a sauce and
This girl likes tacos.
something else.
Yeah.
Fish tacos you
Mhm.
do anyway. I
Mhm.
don't see you getting too hyped about any other. Okay, First Corinthians, 12. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not want you to be ignorant. You know that you were okay. You've read this before, and he
Which is
goes
at 1 Corinthians 12.
1 Corinthians 12. He goes through
What
the
verse?
list from the beginning.
Okay.
There, verse 4, there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but it is the same God who works all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. We all have different parts. By the way, this big hype chat about equality,
Good morning, Dan Best.
equality. Hi, Dan. Equality, 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 fairness. Nothing is so unfair as the government's definition of fairness. And if you want unequal, um, put the government in charge of the concept of equality. In all communist countries, they force equality, and all it is shared ministry and shared deprivation. If you want a loaf of bread and a piece of chicken or something like that, it's so the system of feeding people is so jilted that food's not available. They tax farmers at 90%, so farmers go, forget this, and they just make enough for their own family only. Since the extra gets 90% taken away from them. That's how Pol Pot pulled it off in Cambodia. That's how Lenin and Trotsky pulled it off in Russia. And people would stand in line for days. The bread lines. Pathetic. I
I think
like,
it's interesting how you're taking this into the political realm
yeah.
versus being what we think of as gifts in the church, like, nursery, music,
So we have
that
all
sort of
these
stuff.
different types of gifts, and everyone fills a slot. It's like if all people were parts of a car. Well, when they all work together and do their different things, then you get down the road. When everybody does their part, that person makes chicken, that person makes eggs, that person makes beef, that person grows cucumbers, then everybody gets fed. And there's a lot of talk about equality now while businesses are being shut down. I talked to people in Africa, and they said this piped in virus is making a mess out of things. It's
Mm.
really,
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Yeah, so yeah, Drake is seeing some of the responses from Periscope, which are different from the ones from Facebook.
yeah, so whatever. But so
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, beware when someone from the outside is forcing equality on you. The differences that we all have are what make us fantastic, are what make us. Steph Curry and I will never have equality on the basketball court. I
That's
can't.
true.
I can't get free throws to go in. I can't get a layup to go in. He gets half court shots to go in. I don't
It
want
doesn't even look
equality.
like he's looking when he throws the ball
Yeah,
up there.
I don't want equality with Steph Curry because the only way
Mm.
to do it would be to make him as bad as me. I can't get as good as him. So let him fly. Let me fly in what I
Let me
do.
turn your phone off. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
the phone is a cling-a-dinging.
Yeah.
So anyhow, but now the problem in Corinth is that everybody with their different
Yeah,
gifts,
what were they doing? Why were they making such a big deal about this?
they were all fussing about who had the best gift, who had the most important gift, who was the most
Ah.
vital. Now, I remember church potlucks growing up.
It's like people comparing their superpowers. Like my superpower is better than yours. That's just
Dumb. Dumb. Let the Magnificent Four just do their thing and
Mm-hmm.
let them work together.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like where you're coming to a church potluck, and church potlucks are a blast. If you don't know what one is, you don't know what a joy is. It's the most fantastic, wonderful way of dining there is. A church potluck. It's just the pure joy of my childhood were these things.
Yeah.
And so someone brings bread. Someone brings sliced beef. Someone brings a potato dish. Someone brings a green salad. Someone brings a vegetable platter. Someone brings the beverages. They've got
Chocolate cake.
Hawaiian punch. They've got lemonade. They've got,
Mm-hmm.
someone's making, coffees or whatever. And then there's chocolate cake, and it's just the fudge is just oozing down onto the plate, and the whole thing is fantastic. Now, everybody share, everybody do their part, everybody enjoy an amazing lunch. In Corinth, the people who brought the beef said, my dish has the highest protein content of anyone here. Okay, no one has protein like I do. And the people that brought the bread said, I'm the king of carbs, okay? Carbs, this, that, carbs. And they spend,
Was it based upon the food they brought?
I'm just making up a fictitious
Oh,
story.
okay. Okay.
They were fussing with this about the communion, by the way. So Paul said, hey, just serve communion and quit.
I mean, were they saying it about everything else that they were doing in the church? Like,
Their church
I.
gifts. I'm making the symbolism as
Yeah.
if spiritual gifts were food.
Okay.
And so the people who brought the green salad said, well, we have the best vitamin content of anybody here. We have more vitamins than you, the roast beef. And the people that brought the tomatoes said, well, no one else has the redness like us. Now, remember, red is the blood of Christ, and we have the red stuff. And they spend the first hour comparing and squabbling instead of taking all this stuff and making roast beef sandwiches for everyone. How dumb would that be? But in Corinth, they were doing this. They were comparing and fussing and squabbling. They're comparing and
And they
fussing and
didn't even
squabbling.
need social media to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember finishing opening
Mm.
gifts at Christmas time, and God gives these gifts to give them joy. I remember opening
Mm.
gifts at Christmas time. What if after we opened all our gifts, took all the paper that was in a pile, and then started making paper wads out of that and throwing it at each other, and then comparing each other's gifts, and we're jealous of that gift, so we bust their gift so they don't have it, so that and then they bust your. Good grief! How
That's
could you be so?
that sounds like a movie scene.
It's terrible. It's like Chevy Chase's Christmas gone amok or something. Um, this is what they were
Oh.
doing in Corinth, and Paul says, "Hey, all the different gifts that I gave all of you." These are gifts, and gifts are given, and gifts are shared,
Gifts from the Holy
and
Spirit.
gifts bring joy.
Yeah.
Can't you be joyful with this? You're killing me, people.
Yeah.
You're killing me,
Well,
Smalls.
and to compare it to today, there are certain gifts that that end up being in the front stage, so to speak. There are center stage gifts, and there are backstage gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's been interesting about how this time may have shifted some of that. So those, I can imagine it's those people with the center stage gifts that were really touting it over those with backstage
Yeah,
gifts.
and on a similar note, before we go to 1 Corinthians
Mm-hmm.
13, um, I met the guy who was in charge of backstage
Mm-hmm.
factors, everything at Phantom of the Opera, New York City. And that
Mm-hmm.
guy was there from first show to the end. I think Phantom ran for 18 years. Do you know any of that
Golly,
stuff? She lived there longer than
yeah,
me.
it did. It ran for a long time, and I was able to see it once, and it was amazing.
Beyond phenomenal.
Yeah, all the songs make sense after. I mean, you hear the songs, but then when you see it all together, it's amazing.
This guy was
Yeah.
backstage. He was paid $1,000 a day for
Mm.
18 years,
Mm-hmm.
and he worked 7 days straight.
Wow.
18 years.
Oh my
What
gosh.
is
Oh my
18?
gosh.
What is 18 times 365? I think he did
Wow.
6,000 days straight, got $1,000 a day, took it all the way to the end, never missed a cue. I said, "You never missed a cue." He said, "Never."
Wow.
This is a guy you want backstage. If he's not backstage, the people out front can't do their thing. They love this guy. He loved them. He was paid well. I think he made $6 million over the course of 18
Yeah,
years.
it's
Or
better to be reliable.
yeah, it's like
Wow. It's
like
amazing. Yeah, Sally says it's our uniqueness that is used to combine us together and create a world that functions well.
yeah,
Well said.
yeah. And I love
Mm-hmm.
Sally's last line here. We need to celebrate each other's gifts
Mm-hmm.
or unique makeup.
Mm-hmm.
If we just do that, then we can love each
We'll even
other.
add that to the broadcast. We can do that. We have that power.
And yeah, a wife knows what to do.
Yay.
And
That's my
with all
superpower is
these
technology.
with all these gifts, love is the most important one. We all
Yeah.
need to be operating lovingly and be
Mm-hmm.
sharing and be encouraging one another and lifting up each other and honoring each other.
Yeah.
With all the prattle frat that churches get, it's a much more accepting, encouraging,
Mm.
uplifting, edifying, healthy atmosphere than anywhere else. I know people say, no, they're more accepting at the taverns. Well, yeah, until you say something wrong and you get some teeth knocked out.
Yeah, it could go, with a little libation, it enhances whatever way the wind is blowing, right?
Yeah, I remember,
Oh,
oh,
goodness.
20 years ago, I thought, you know something, people think I'm critical and I'm a pastor, and not terrible, but I thought, I just go to the local tavern that had been there for generations,
It
and I'll
used to
have
be
it.
called the Bucket of Blood.
Yeah, because they used to fight there a lot back in the Gold Rush days. I said, order a 7 Up, and sit and talk to people. The that is the first half hour in there. Two guys walked up to me cold turkey and said that he said, let's step outside. You want to get it on. Let's. I thought, you want to fight me for what? One guy was on my high school football team
Mm-hmm.
22 years prior. Well, he'd had a few, and he wanted to punch it out. He was mad at somebody else, and he thought I was him. I'm thinking, dude, I just thought, man, I'm just having a little 7 Up here and saying
Mm-hmm.
hi to people.
Yeah.
Somebody else wanted to fight. I'm thinking, this is, don't give me this jive about how everybody's all accepting at the taverns. It's, oh well. 1 Corinthians 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but don't have love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. You can say stuff, but it's just ching, ching, ching. It just bam, bam, bam noise if you're not loving about it.
Mm.
So there's people in there, the Corinthian church, they're arguing about who they're following. They're arguing about what they have. They're comparing. They're jealous of having more than them, but they're jealous of those that they have less of, so they perceive. It's reality, but it's not true. It's reality to their feelings, but it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fussing about who speaks in tongues the best. Pentecost was a blessing, not an argument. And it was supposed to be a blessing,
Mm.
not an argument. Corinthian church had turned it into an argument.
Well, it's kind of interesting, this whole outpouring of the Holy Spirit was so new, and if you were very receptive and the Spirit was flowing through you, I could see if your flesh got in there just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you would then say like, wow, yeah, yeah, check in with me. I know everything.
Yeah, I'm all that, and a bag of
Oh
chips
my
and
goodness.
change.
Wow. So, yeah, love.
So there were people.
Going back to love.
There were people that had the gifts of tongues, and they could speak to people
Mm-hmm.
from other language. Corinth is an intersection. People are coming through there, and people
Mm-hmm.
that showed up all didn't know the same language. There's people that could just speak to them and not learn their language and testify to them, and it was wow. How do you? That's linguistically, that's beyond a magic show. That's
Mm.
stunning. I've talked to two or three people.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to two or three people that have spoken and explained the gospel to someone who didn't know their language. They just spoke
Yeah.
in English, and they heard a tribal Indian language.
Yeah. So they spoke in English, but the other person heard it in their language. It was like between their lips and the other person's ears, the Holy Spirit changed the words
And explained it to them.
to
It
their
was like,
language.
wow. But if you can do that.
Only God could do that.
Yeah, I had an old friend that explained the gospel to someone,
Mm-hmm.
and the person on the other side, he was so illiterate in English. You ask him, "Hello, Mr. Kim, 5 o'clock." You have to say hello, and he'd tell you what time it was. He didn't hear anything. But before he left at the end of the semester, he said, now I'm going to explain to Mr. Kim.
Yes, Glorious, we are in a real field. This is not.
This is a real field.
This is not CGI.
This is not CGI. I can't touch the curtain in the back.
Well, I can't touch that plant, but it's real back there.
So he explained the gospel to him slowly, systematically, and the man said, "You know something?" At the end, 45-minute explanation. He said, "I don't think I want to embrace this Jesus thing today. But I do want to thank you. I'm very impressed that you took the time to learn Korean. By the way, your Korean is beautiful."
Perfect.
He heard the entire 45-minute explanation in Korean.
Mm-hmm.
My friend didn't know that till it was over. He said, "What?"
Well, but the whole time he was like,
Fascination.
the guy had his mouth open as he was explaining the gospel, and it was amazing.
As he was hearing the explanation of the gospel,
he just thought, oh, he must be really engaging with the message of the gospel because he explained it very slowly.
And people in Corinth had this. They had the gifts of prophecy. They had the gifts of knowledge.
Yeah.
They had the gifts of wisdom. I sat by people in school. They had the gift of knowledge. I didn't get it till after the test. They got it for the test. They got another 98 or another 100. I got another 58. I learn at a very different pace than school teaches it.
Well, I think they're also talking about words of knowledge. Like God will also drop a word into your spirit, and if you don't know somebody and you're speaking to them, and they drop in that word of knowledge and say it, and then that person's their faith will increase simply because you released a word that nobody would know but God.
And they had the gift of giving. People had the gift of faith. People had the gift of it's like fasting. They could just deprive themselves to focus on something else. Some people can't do that. And Paul says, the
modern version would be minimalists.
Yeah, the gift, and Paul says, okay, you've got all this stuff, but you're not loving.
Mm-hmm.
If you have all this stuff and you're not loving about it, you're nothing. You're actually a detriment to this church with all the great things. You can come to a potluck. One person can bring the bread. One person bring the mayo. Some person bring the tomatoes. Some bring the lettuce. They bring the roast beef. They bring you can fight and throw it all at each other, or you can make roast beef sandwiches and all feed everybody and have a great time feasting. They just couldn't get this right in Corinth. And Paul says, guys, you got to get this right. And by the way, this scene, though I have the gift of prophecies and can understand all mysteries and have all knowledge, and I'm not loving, I'm nothing. This scene is filmed in the movie Places in the Heart from 35. It's from the 80s. Sally Field is in that. Danny Glover's in there. They're talking about some Klan problems. They're talking about some cruelty. They're talking about, who goes to church and who doesn't go to church and who's mean to the black people and who's hoity-toity. And then they read 1 Corinthians at the end.
Oh, do they?
At the movie. They read the 1 Corinthians movie.
Wow.
And I talked to the sound man on set who was adjusting the audio, and he was in charge of audio.
I did not know you knew that.
Yeah, I knew this guy. And he actually spoke at our church, and just great guy, boisterous guy. But when he made this movie, he wasn't a Christian. And he said they filmed 1 Corinthians 13. Okay, good, cut. We've got to adjust that. They filmed it again.
Yeah.
We're getting a bit of a reverb. Filmed it again. We had to arrange more sound speakers.
Sometimes you got
film it again.
You get like 8, 10, 13 takes.
They had to film that scene 50 times.
That's a lot of times.
It took them 10 hours. It got so late in the day they had to readjust the lighting and film it again.
Plus, on that at that time, it wasn't digital. It was all on film.
It was all on
expensive.
Film. So they film it 50 times, and he said, as we said 1 Corinthians 13 over and over again, it started to get to me.
The power.
The 50th time through, we wrapped. It was perfect. He says, He sat there and wept and said, "You know something? I'm not loving.
Wow.
I can't even be loving. I can't even figure out how. God, could you please put your love in my heart?"
What a
And
testimony.
he said he felt like he got tased there
Ooh.
right on the set. The love of God came over him. He gave his heart to Christ after reading 1 Corinthians 13 as a non-believer.
Mm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
read 50 times, and he said the 50th time through, I surrendered my life to Christ. Right there on Sally Field's in the room, Danny Glover's in the room,
Wow.
and they're wondering why the audio guy is crying. He said, "It's perfect. We got it perfect." And he ended his testimony. He's sharing his story with me, and he says, when we did the 50th time, I gave my life to Christ. Sally Field and Danny Glover's in the room. I don't know what they believe. I didn't even care. The love that was pouring over me, because I
Wow.
finally understood the love.
Mm.
I went, wow, this stuff is real. God is love. I've heard that all my life, but I don't even pay attention to it. If I just
Mm.
listen, you need to read 1 Corinthians
Faith
13
comes by hearing, and
and
hearing by the word of
listen.
God. Oh, that's
Listen to
awesome.
yourself. Yeah, this is great. Love is patient.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
Patient,
read it.
patient.
Read
When
the
you
whole
marry
thing.
somebody, you're not going to figure them out for a long time. If you haven't had a 25th anniversary yet, there's a whole lot of love you don't understand yet.
Oh
You've
boy, it
got to
takes
keep
time to
living.
learn some patience.
Yeah. Do you need patience living with me? I'm going to
God
get
has
it.
been teaching me patience now for 15 years.
I'm going to get it together eventually. I remember this farmer wife. She couldn't believe how just she thought it was unloving. He was from a culture that, well, you didn't do huggy wuggy, all that stuff, and she was, oh, I need my gushy wooshy hug. I need to be told, and he just didn't get it. He didn't get it. After the 20th anniversary, he went, oh, she just wants me to tell her I I love her.
Oh, she should know
Oh,
that.
well, she should just know. I kissed her on her wedding day. What do you need, you know? After the 20th anniversary, he's out in the field and he's irrigating, and he says, oh, I see the water flowing down. Oh. He took out a scratch note and he said, Mabel, my love for you flows like water down the corn rows.
Oh
I'm
man.
trying not to cry because I heard this. I was there right after it happened.
Wow.
I was working in Oklahoma 38 years ago. Cornfields, as far as you can see. Nebraska, you've never seen so much food.
Mm-hmm.
Mabel, my love for you flows like water down the corn rows. And he left that on the kitchen counter, and he went out for his irrigation the next day.
Mm-hmm.
She found it. She just exploded in tears.
Aw.
It was so gorgeous. I knew Mabel. She
Hmm.
kept that thing. It's been 30, almost 40 years
Yeah.
since it happened. She clutched to that thing like it was a lifesaver or a
Mm.
safety rope,
Mm-hmm.
and she's trying not to drown. And he said, is that all you? It took him 20 years. Now, should she serve him papers after the second anniversary because he doesn't get it yet? Love is patient.
Mm.
Explain it again.
Yeah.
She explains electronics to me over and over. I never get it.
He does not.
I'm not going to get it.
He does not.
There's things that I tell her, and she's hearing it, But
What are
if
those what are
if
those
it
things?
doesn't happen, can't explain it here, love. If, if it doesn't happen by the fifth anniversary, I'm canning her and I'm moving to Tahiti. Love is patient. Love is kind. Be kind.
Of course, I'm not going to say what I would say.
I know these people that are kind to certain people,
Oh.
but not kind to these people. That isn't kind. I know of a television
Yeah.
star, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen her set, and
When
I've
these
got
birds are
friends
like flying around like crazy, I'm like waiting for one to land on my
that
head.
that have been on their set, and says, "Hey, you can be kind." Well, it turns out this person isn't kind to the people close to them. They tell you to be kind. That isn't kind. It doesn't
No,
envy.
that's
It
right.
doesn't boast. It isn't proud. It isn't rude. It isn't self-seeking. It isn't easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. No record of wrongs. You can't say, that is the 900th time I've forgiven you.
You always, you never. Yeah. That
Well,
kind
it
of
sounds
stuff,
like
yeah.
you never have forgiven them
Yeah,
once.
that's true.
It keeps no record of wrongs. It doesn't delight in evil. I know, I've met so many people. If anything happens bad to you, or like you stub your toe, or you fall and a crate of eggs hit the ground, or you trip, people think that accidents are funny on happening to somebody else.
Well, that's why America's Funniest Home Videos was so popular.
Yeah.
I mean, people, tripping and falling into the kiddie pool, that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
that's maybe funny later, but at the time, that person that just fell into the kiddie pool while doing their homework or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that isn't funny. Help them out. Love rejoices
I'm sorry, but
in the
I'm just
truth.
imagining other things on America's Funniest Home
Yeah,
Videos.
love rejoices in the truth. You always this. Love always protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres. Love doesn't give up. Love never fails. And where time is up, so I will end with this. Love never fails. I know a missionary who went into the mountains of South America to explain the gospel to this new tribe. And the guys went, yeah, whatever. And the ladies grabbed their kitchen utensils and started beating the guy.
The guy explaining the gospel.
Yeah. And knocking him down. I mean, you
Well,
get a whole dozen of Bolivian ladies with big sticks. They can hurt you. And they knocked him down and kept beating him. And some of them had and they were hurting this guy bad.
Wow.
And he was able to run for cover. He came back a week later and tried it again.
Whoa.
They resumed the beating.
Whoa.
He came back a month later. It took longer to recover. Love always perseveres.
Wow.
Love never fails. Listen to this, true story. He came back a third time a month later. They started beating him a third time. And he tried to say, ladies, I'm trying to give you the gift of eternal life.
Mm.
And he noticed as they were beating him, tears were running down their face. And then they slowly stopped, put their utensils and their blades and their bread rollers, whatever they had. And they said, you just keep loving us.
Mm.
Why?
Mm.
We keep hating you. We don't know why. You keep loving us. You must know why. And he explained the gospel to them, and they all received it.
Wow.
Because his love didn't fail. Love people like that, even
That's
if they're
right.
mean to you, because love never fails. Have a magnificent day. Have a magnificent weekend.
Hey, and don't forget, subscribe on YouTube. And
yeah,
please do subscribe on YouTube. And then also, if you want to partner with us, go to draketravis.com, and there's a partner tab, and there's some instructions on there about what to do.
And we'll keep arranging it so that it becomes simpler, because people are asking us, how do we support you? How do we give?
They're calling us up. What do we do? We want to support you.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
We are grateful. We're super grateful.
I have been studying this stuff.
Yeah.
I've studied the Bible more than a brain surgeon has studied the brain.
Well,
so
you're the Bible
this
surgeon.
This is what I do, and I want to help you understand all of it. Hang
Also,
with me,
don't
and we
forget,
will.
you can listen to 7streamsmethod.com. That's where I will read the Bible to you every day, and the commentary that Drake has written. And I'm working on a new thing for the Seven Streams community, so I will be revealing that hopefully over this next week. So stay tuned for some updates from the Seven Streams.
Isn't she gorgeous?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Bless you guys.